Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I want to rank all the new updated tier 2 sets that we will be able to get during patch 11.0.5 and during the WoW 20th anniversary event. And in particular, I want to base my ranking on how well the sets were improved compared to their classic versions. So even though sometimes I might prefer some of the sets based on their looks and appearances, if the transformation is not as successful as others, then I will still rank these different sets a little bit lower in my ranking. So let's start with Druid. So the original set I think was pretty nice and definitely something that really represented Druids, but there was definitely a lot of things that were missing, and I think this version was still very simple. And I do think that Blizzard did an amazing job at improving it with the new updated version that you will be able to get. So the first thing that I really want to bring your attention to are the antlers and also the hood. I think the antlers are by far really one of the coolest change. I think it looks super cool, super well detailed, and I love what they've done with the vines and everything. I think it looks great. And of course, also the glowy eyes, I think is a really nice addition compared to the classic version, as you can see. And then I think the rest of the set in general looks super good. I really like that they used the Dragonflight like chest piece and also leg piece. I think it looks really cool with all the different leaves. And again, this one I think is definitely one of the sets that got one of the best improvements so far when you compare the classic and also the new retail version of this set. So for that reason, I will put the Druid set as a S tier because in my opinion, again, this is really cool. So after that, we have the Hunter set. So for the Hunter set, I think the original set was already really good, and personally, I do love this set because of the unique colors. I think this is an amazing set. And I do think there is definitely some improvement, but it's not as major compared to the Druid set. So here, what I really like, of course, is the detail on the shoulders and the helm. Even though, again, when you compare both of them, it's definitely improved, but it's not completely different. So again, it's still nice, but it could be even more crazy in my opinion. I do love the gloves, for instance, and all the new details on the gloves. I do love the chest piece and the rest of the set, including the legs, because again, not everything is just 3D painted anymore. But overall, I think this is not the craziest change that we've seen with these new updated tier 2 sets. And even though, again, I really like this new version, I think it could have been even more crazy. So for that reason, I will put the Hunter set as a strong B tier. After that, we have the Mage set. So again, the Mage set is a classic one. I think something that a lot of people still use till this day, and definitely a really nice cloth set. So here, I think the changes are really more impressive than, for instance, compared to the Hunter set. So for instance, if you just take the shoulders with the different orbs, I think this is really cool and it looks just way better. We also have like more details. For instance, here, as you can see, we now have the crystals coming out of the shoulders, which I think is a really cool detail. And of course, the headpiece is also really nice, even though this one is not drastically different than the original version. And overall, I think this one looks super cool. So I'm really happy with the changes for the Mage set. I think the only thing that maybe would have been better is if the little piece here at the center of the chest piece would have remained a little bit more clear, because I think I like this part of the initial classic set. So I will put the Mage set as a low A tier. Then we have probably the most anticipated tier 2 set, and this is the Paladin one. So here again, the classic one is really iconic. This is something that everyone loves, probably one of the best sets that we've ever had in the game. And I already think that the details and the colors on the set look really amazing. But this new updated version is just so nice. I think really when you see all the details on the set and all the different aspects of the initial set that have just been improved, I think this one is a real success, and I think this one looks really nice. Especially, I know some people were not really happy with the blue glow from the eyes, but I personally really like it. I think it adds a lot to this set. And over in that, again, I think, for instance, the shoulders with the blades and all the other things that before that were 3D painted and that now are completely visible on the set just make this set even more impressive. So while I still think the original one looks super cool and badass, I think this one is even better. So as most of you will probably guess, I'm gonna rank the Paladin one as a S plus tier. This is a real work of art. Then we have the presets. So here, in my opinion, the original one really looked already super clean. Even though again it's 3D painted, I think the colors, the details, everything looked so good. And I'm happy with the new version, but I do think I again was expecting more, especially for instance for the headpiece. I think it could have been a little bit more impressive. This is still something that is very similar to what we had back in Vanilla WoW. And then the rest of the set again is definitely improved, but there are just a few things that I think could have been even better. So for instance, one of my major criticism for the new updated version is the fact that I just find it a little bit too dark when the original one was so vibrant. I think maybe it's just the way they decided to have all the same blue everywhere, when here clearly there was different type of colors that were being used. And also just in general, this set looks more clear. So that's maybe one of the main things that I find a little bit annoying with this new version. So for that reason, I will put the preset as a low B tier. After that, we have the Rogue tier. So here I think this is one of the only updated sets where I actually prefer the old version compared to the new one. I just think the old version looks better, the glow on the eyes is better, and the overall set is just a little bit more dark and it just feels more right compared to the new ones. I think the new ones is not too bad, especially I think the shoulders, for instance, are not too bad, but it's just not dark enough. There's just too much silver a little bit everywhere. It's just too clear. And overall, I think it's a little bit disappointed. Of course, it's good that we have now the glow effect because during the first previews, there wasn't anything. But even with that, I still think the original version just looks better. And this is something that sadly, I don't know if many of you will agree with me, but at least if I had to choose between both of these sets, I will probably still decide to use the classic version simply because it just looks way better and this one is not as interesting in my opinion. So I will rank the Rogue set as a C tier. Such as for instance here on the kilt you have all the fur and this type of 3D details. But next to that, I do have to say that I'm also a little bit disappointed with this one because honestly, if you just compare the two sets, sure, again, this one clearly is an improved version, but it doesn't feel as nice as some of the other sets. And especially, there's still a lot of 3D painting parts that I think are a little bit odd. And then again, only the shoulders really are nice. The rest is just a little bit updated, but nothing crazy. So overall, this one, I'm not too convinced. And also the glowing effect on the eyes, I don't know if it will stay like that, but I do prefer by far the original one compared to this one right here. So this one for me will also be a C tier and I will just place it just before the Rogue one right here. So after that, we have the Warlock set. Here, definitely, I think there's some really good improvement, especially I absolutely love the new helm and the new shoulders. I think this is really good compared to the classic version. I also love the glowing effect. I think it looks super cool. And again, the details on the helm for me are what's really making this set so cool. I think for the rest, again, I also really like the fact that we have more 3D pieces compared to the original set. And this is something that, again, in my opinion, makes the set way better. But the one thing maybe that I found a little bit better in the original classic version of the set are the different colors. I just think here it was a little bit more vibrant, especially the purple compared to here. And so this is just the maybe only thing that I think was better about the classic set overall. But other than that, I think this is an amazing set and I'm sure many Warlocks are going to be super happy about getting this set in patch 11.0.5. So for that reason, I will rank the Warlock set as a good A tier. After that, we have one of my favorite sets in the game, and this is the tier 2 set for warriors. I think this one is just incredible. I remember back in Classic WoW, I was just so in love with this set. I mean, the helmet especially and the shoulders, this is just so badass, and this is something that honestly I'm so happy to see being upgraded. And this new version right here is exactly honestly what I had in mind. I think the details is absolutely amazing on this set. Also, I do love the new colors a little bit that they used. I think unlike over of the updated sets, I think on this one it makes it even better. And again, for instance, the fact that now everything has these like glowing effects on them makes it just so good. And all the details everywhere is just perfect. If you really look at, for instance, the boots, we haven't had some of the coolest boots like that for quite some time. Same with the legs. Everything has some details. And this is by far one of my favorite ones of these new updated tier 2 sets, and something that I will definitely try to get on my warrior because I think it looks amazing. And so for that reason, I will put the warrior set as a very strong S tier. It could almost be a S plus tier, but I think it belongs right here with the Druid set. After that, we have the Death Knight set. So here we can't compare to the classic version simply because there wasn't any Death Knights back in Vanilla WoW, but I still think this set is amazing. This is really cool. It looks a lot like the Night Old sets for Paladins, but this is just a Death Knight version of this set. And overall, I think all the details on the set, especially for instance, when you look at the back right here with the shoulders and the helm and everything else, I think just looks absolutely incredible. And I absolutely love this set. I think this is a real masterpiece, and I was not expecting Blizzard to actually create some new ones and especially to make them that good. So this one, in my opinion, is a really good set. And for that reason, I will put the Death Knight set also as a S tier because I just really love this set. After that, we have the Demon Hunter set, and this one, in my opinion, is just really bad. Um, Everything looks exactly like all the different sets you were able to get back in Legion. There's nothing new really about this set. There's nothing exciting. And overall, I haven't seen, I think, one positive comment about this set. This is very disappointing. And I mean, I think they could have definitely tried to do something a little bit closer to Illidan. I think that could have been a little bit better, but here really, I mean, this is just very boring, and especially they are using all the same colors that we've already had so many times for Death Knight. So I don't think a lot of people are going to be very excited about this set or are really going to spend any time trying to grind and get it. So for that reason, I will put the Demon Hunter as a F minus because honestly, this is really bad. Then we have the Evoker set, which I think is not as bad, for instance, as the Demon Hunter one. I actually do think the helm is very interesting. It almost looks like Sauron from the Lord of the Rings. And overall, I think the colors on the set are pretty nice. And there's also some pretty nice details all over the set. So actually this one I think is not as bad as the Demon Hunter one. Again, it's really not as good as the Death Knight, for instance, but it's still something that is pretty good. And I do think that starting with nothing, the Blizzard team did pretty well in creating these new tier sets. So for that reason, I will actually put this one as a B tier, and I really do think it's not that bad. And then finally, we have the Monk set. And here I really want to congratulate Blizzard because this is an amazing set, especially for monks. I think monks rarely get some good sets, and this one looks amazing. I really love all the details on the set. I love the fact that you have these different like thunders that are coming a little bit from everywhere. Again, the mask and the glowing effects from the eyes look really cool. There are a few things that could have been a little bit better. For instance, the belt really looks similar to what we already have in the game. The cloak is also a little bit boring in my opinion. But still, I think this is a very, very strong set and something, in my opinion, that a lot of monks will probably use because it just looks so cool. And I really love the fact that it chose green because at some point there was another variant that was shown, but the green version is just really, really, really better. So for that reason, I will put the monk set as a S plus tier because I just think this is really, really nice. And again, you need to remember that Blizzard created this set out of nowhere because there wasn't any monks back in Vanilla WoW. So let me know in the comments what you think about my ranking and in general what you think about all these different sets and if you're excited or not to finally be able to start farming for these different sets starting tomorrow when the new patch and the WoW 20th anniversary event will finally be released. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos, and in the meantime I wish you all a great day. Bye!